Alright guys, so I finally burned out the stock servo in my Traxxas XMaxx, and I'm going to replace it with an upgraded to the 2085X servo, all metal gear waterproof servo. So, let's get going. So, with the 2.5 mil hex bit, you'll want to take out this screw, this screw, this screw, this screw, this screw, this screw, as well as there's one down in this hole, hopefully you guys can see that, and one down in this hole. With the 2 mil, you need to release your servo link. Once the truck's flipped over, we'll remove the center skid plate. Now, of course, you can realistically, you can just take out these two, but I find it easier to put it back together if you take out all 8 screws and just remove the entire center skid plate. Then you want to take out the 4 screws in your front skid plate. Flip that up. This hole, this hole, this hole, and this hole has screws also with the 2.5 mil. With the 2 mil, you need to release your servo link. Now you can just pull it apart. Like so. To get the old servo out, release your receiver box cover. 2 screws there and 2 screws there. And that's also the 2.5 mil. Flip it back over. Release the 3 screws there with the 2.5 mil. To release your old servo. Unplugging the servo from channel 1. And gently getting it out. This part's always a little fun. And it takes longer to get the wires in and out of here than it does to actually do the repair. For the replacement. Run down through, pull it down through this slot here once you get it out. There's the old one. With the 2 mil, you'll remove your servo horn. Done. Now the new set comes with a stainless steel link, so keep that in mind for after. New servo just goes back in the same way. Through the hole here. Pretty hard to mess it up because the screws line up and there's only one way for it to go in because of the little cutout there for the servo. So once that's in, we will replace the mount screws with the 2.5 mil. Because we're all prone to making mistakes, I like to test it before I put all the receiver stuff back together. It's one of the hardest parts of the job, so I like to make sure it's working before I get carried away. I can hear it, so she's working. I mean, not that I ever doubt that I'm gonna get it right, but that takes 2 seconds as opposed to putting it all back together, finding out you did something wrong and having to take it all apart again, right? So now we're just gonna tuck all the wires back in nice and clean, making sure not to have anything pinch on the waterproof rubber seal. You guys have been around this channel for a while, you understand that we live in Canada and it's gross outside, so to help with making sure that our receiver box is waterproofed, we like to put a little bit of marine grease on the bead here. That just helps ensure that it's waterproofed. Also seals out small particles of dirt and dust and whatever that might be on that ring. And the same thing on the receiver sponge here. The sponge can dry out over time as well, so this just helps ensure that there's no water getting in. So if you plan on driving in a lot of water, it's a good idea. So making sure none of those wires are pinched, we will lock down that part. If using a drill to replace screws into plastic, be sure you have a drill that torques, so you can lower the torque so you don't strip the plastic out. And the receiver cover. And of course, guys, I've upgraded the ESC in this to the Max 6. There's a video here for you if you want to check that out. The installation and the calibration I'll put up here. So, of course, my switch for that is mounted to the top of this receiver box, which made it a little bit tough to maneuver that back in, but we got her. And that's that. So, now the servo is installed. Take this half of the truck over here. The upgraded servo comes with a stronger servo saver spring. So we'll take the front end of the truck. Now we will remove this screw, and this screw with the 2.5 mil. And this screw with the 2 mil. And that pops this cover off. Now you can get to the servo saver. There's a 2.5 mil screw to release cap and the spring. So yeah, this new one is a bit stiffer, so. And tighten her down. So now that's a really strong servo saver. And you have a bearing here. Anytime you're removing bearings, take the opportunity to check them and make sure they're running smooth. And you can always lube them up. We like to pack everything with marine grease around here, so tie rod link back on. Back on the pin. Reconnect your join buckle here with your bushing and screw. And then replace your cover. As always, guys, put everything back together the same way you took it apart. This will be a good time to change your servo link. So, next thing I would suggest is, again, putting a little power to it so that you can center your servo. Good time to check your trims on your transmitter. There, now she should be centered. You want your horn straight up and down, like so. And reattach your servo horn screw. Now, of course, that's metal to metal, so a little bit of Loctite. Just a dab. No reason to ever put Loctite into plastic, guys. Won't do any good. It'll actually make it worse. Once that's done, it's time to put the vehicle modulated system back together. Obviously, make sure all your stuff is slid into the right areas. Make sure your drive shaft is actually connected by rotating one set of tires. While you're here, you need to hook your steering link back up. This can be fun. What I like to do is pull that link up and bring it back behind the horn there. There we go. I just find it easier to drag it through than to try to push it in. I'm going to magnetize my bit a little bit so it'll actually hold that screw for me. Trying to get down in there. I never use a drill on the servo horn or any screw that's going into the servo or anything with a gear, because if you over torque, you can strip the gears out. Now, replacing the screws in the body where we removed them from before. So try to remember where you took them from, that'd be helpful. If not, you can always refer to your manual. She looks pretty centered to me. Good power. So, thanks for hanging out today. Hopefully the video was helpful. And if so, smash that like button. Join the crew today by subscribing and hitting the bell notification so you don't miss our upcoming videos. There's a video here queued up that YouTube thinks you'll like, and one here that we think you'll like. Until next time, get out and play. See you later.